Okay, so time out. What I was doing before is not exactly coming out the way I wanted it to. So I wasn't for sure if this whole piece was gonna be walnut. It's not. So the sides are like a walnut, the top is a walnut. You've got some oak right here. There is some maple on the corner. So it is not staining the way that I wanted it to. And so, sorry folks, but we're gonna paint this. So this happens sometimes. When something doesn't go the way you want it to go, maybe walk away for a day, take a breather, and then just reset yourself. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I am going to add some texture. I'm gonna show you, because this is going to be my dresser in my room. And I'm gonna show you guys the carpet that we have and the reasoning of why I'm going with some kind of clay colors, some like pinkish clay terracotta type colors. So I'm gonna show you my carpet and then you're gonna know why I'm picking the colors that I'm picking. Stay here. Okay, so this is the carpet that we picked out for our room. And if you can see, there's some blues and greens, and you've got this kind of, you see the little kind of terracotta colors, and that's why I picked out the colors that I have. And then obviously there's some red, so I'm going to do a little bit of a darker red on the bottom, but I'm going to add texture. We're going to add a bluish color on the bottom, and then we're going to do kind of an ombre blend, and I'm just going to make this mine for my room. I do want to show you the process that I used to strip the top. So I used Jasco Premium Paint and Epoxy Remover. This is something I used years ago when I was back in the US, and now that I'm back here, I wanted to try it to see if it still worked as well, and it does. So this is one that I really, really like. It is smelly, but it gets the job done. So I applied this to the entire piece, and then I want to show you this side. So this is wood, but what they did, because it's maple, is they had to use a darker stain, almost like a paint, to match the top. And so it took a little bit to get underneath there. And once I started removing the top and the sides, I realized that this piece is multiple different wood species. And although I could use a bunch of different stains, gel stains, things like that to match everything, I just didn't want to. And so that's why I changed directions. But I am using my little scoop that scrapes off the excess stripper, and I got this at Lowe's, so you can get it at Lowe's. I know that they had them on Amazon, but I'm pretty sure that they're sold out. So I remove the excess on the top. I also want to show you something I do when there is a residual finish that doesn't come off with the scraping. I like to take a 000 steel wool, and I have stripper in that little plastic container, and what I do is I go with the grain and sometimes make circular motions. So this is a very fine steel wool, so it's not going to scratch the wood, and this helps get that residual finish off by taking the stripper and just almost scrubbing it to get that residual off. And then I do it on the rest of the piece, and then after I do this, I take mineral spirits and I scrub it with the steel wool to get any of the residual stripper off and any of the debris off. After I use the steel wool, I wipe off the excess mineral spirits with a shop towel. Once I decided to change directions, I started painting it. So this is Country Chic in Wandress, and then I'm also using Hues Got Grit, which is a texture additive. I'm going to mix these two into one another to where it's almost like a brownie-like batter consistency, and I am going to stipple this on the entire piece. So this is where that bluish green color comes in, where I showed you on the carpet. We're gonna have this be on the bottom, and that way once we expose it after we scrape later, we'll just have little spots of this color popping through. So this next technique is something that I have watched a couple of my friends do over time. So my friends Susie and Heike and Nicola and Maya, they have used this technique, and I did this a long time ago, and I stopped doing texture pieces for a while and I wanted to do them again. So this piece right here, what you're going to do is on your base coat, you're going to sprinkle a texture additive, and this is going to act as a resist. So you're going to put your texture additive on here, and then you're going to spray it with water so that it sticks to the surface, and you want it to dry very, very thoroughly. Now, you're going to paint over top of this, and you want to make sure that when you paint over top of this, that you're kind of stippling a little bit in some areas, because you don't want to pull too much of that powder off. So I'm going to, the bottom of this is called Terra Rosa, and it's by Jolie Paint. So I'm starting from the bottom and I'm going to work my way up the top. I'm going to go darkest to light because we're going to do an ombre blend on here. And so this is the Terra Rosa. And then the next one is I Love Hue. The color is Clay Pots. I'm going to put that on there. And then I'm going to add the next color above, which is Moroccan Clay by Jolie. And then the lightest color is called Kaydee's Blush, and that is by I Love Hue as well. I'm going to do 2 coats of this on the piece before we go in and blend. When you go in to blend, you're going to want a brush for each color. You're going to want a clean, dry, neutral brush, and you're going to want a mister bottle. So what I'm going to do is mist this area of the transition line between the Terra Rosa and the clay pots, and I'm going to add just a light layer of Terra Rosa over it, so that way I have wet paint right there, and that way we can blend them. And so once I'm done adding the Terra Rosa, I am going to add a little bit of the clay pots on that transition, and I'm going to work them together. These colors are super close, and so they're going to blend really, really nicely together. But to do a final blend, to really get them to mesh, we're going to do a fine mist on it, and then I'm going to take my clean, dry, neutral brush, and I'm just going to feather them together. But you can see I'm going in circles. You can go horizontal, you can go vertical, whatever way you want that gets you the best blend. And so you can see right here, I'm going to mist it, and then I'm going to take my clean, dry, neutral brush, and I'm going to do one final light blend together. Next, we're going to move up to the clay pots in Moroccan clay transition line. So I'm going to add the clay pots and go up a little bit in that Moroccan clay. And then what I'm going to do is add the Moroccan clay and go down into the clay pots. And we're going to just use a light hand, and you're going to go in circles, horizontal, again, just kind of lightly blend these colors together, and then do your one final blend. So you see how I put that in there, and I'm just lightly going in circles. These colors are pretty similar as well, but
Jolie paints and I Love Hue paints, I've realized, work really well together. And so when I find a couple different paints that work good across brands, I will let you guys know. So these two brands work really nicely together. So I am just misting it, taking the clay pot brush. I did not put more paint on it, and I'm just using that to kind of feather everything in and blend these a little bit better. We're going to move up to the Moroccan clay and Kaydee's blush transition line, and we're just going to do the same exact thing, same technique that we used on the last ones. We'll do it on here, and then we allow it to completely dry before we start scraping it back. So remember how I told you that that powder was going to act as a resist and we were going to start seeing the blue under? This is the point. So I'm taking a carbide scraper. You can take whatever scraper you want. I'm scraping it back and you're going to start seeing little pockets. Now it looks white because of the powder, but once you take a rag and you wipe it down, that powder will come off. I am going to take my Surf Prep 3x4 electric ray after I do this, and I'm going to go over the entire piece so that way I can smooth it down. And because it's connected to a vacuum, when I go over it, it's actually going to suck up that excess white powder as well. And what it's going to do is it's going to do a little bit more distressing and make it just a little bit more natural. And so that is what I'll do next, is go over it and sand the entire piece with a super fine sandpaper. Once I was done sanding, I wiped down the piece to get rid of all the dust, and then I sealed it with Jolie's Topcoat. So this is a low sheen top coat by Jolie, and it's really easy to use. I enjoy using it, and you can see right here how it richens the colors once you put the top coat on. I wanted to keep the piece natural, so I am taking Wise Owl's Furniture Tonic, which is mixed with hemp oil and essential oils, and I'm going to add this to the top of the piece. I'm going to spread it out and I'm going to brush it on, and then I'm going to allow it to sit for about a half an hour, and I'm going to come back with a shop towel, wipe off all the excess, let it sit for a little bit longer, and then I'm going to take a microfiber cloth and I'm going to buff it in, and then I'll let it sit for another half an hour or so and buff it in again. It is going to buff to a matte finish, but it's a super hard finish, and then it'll protect this piece. Again, it's going to be in my bedroom, so I'm not quite worried about things, you know, getting wet and doing all that other stuff. But hemp oil is a really good sealer even for outside spaces, and this is just going to richen the wood grain on this piece. I used the original handles, but the pulls that I'm going to use on the doors are from Undead Furniture Company, and I'm going to use their aqua blue, Tiffany blue, that's going to match that blue underneath, and we're going to add that as a little pop of color and character.
Okay everybody, here is the finished piece. Let me move over so you can see it. This is going to stay in my room. It matches the aesthetic of my room. I will show you guys the entire thing once it's completely done. But this is my new dresser and I really love it. I love the color and I just love the vibe that it brings. So make sure that you guys are subscribed if you're not subscribed, and I'm gonna try to be more regular because we are moved now and pretty settled. So until next time, happy creating guys, and I'll see you later.
Hey darling, can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty.